if you're somebody who's working on their art style, or somebody that's working on improving themselves in art, social media is not part of that equation. Being better at social media doesn't make you better at your art. It just makes you better at promoting your art. So every single artist nowadays has to be their own PR campaign. And what's kind of eerie that comes out of that is I see some of the best artists, the best contemporary artists that are posting right now are not the people who get big numbers or big praise. It's people who play into the meta the most and are producing short form content that's really engageable, it's the people who are basically posting TikToks of their art, right? And it doesn't matter if their art is that good, it just matters that they're that consistent. So I found that the better artists are, the worse they are at posting, which kind of starts my part of the conversation, which is I'm really bad at posting. And I feel a debilitating inability to post myself on the internet in a way that is comfortable. I often have this feeling that if I could just reset all of my social media accounts and just post what I want, I would be a lot happier participating in the internet. And that's kind of why I want to make a video like this, and I kind of want to start doing more YouTube stuff, because I have kind of run my course on other social medias and I just hate all of them. The really active social medias, the ones that people are participating, I guess kind of willingly, is just TikTok and TikTok clones. Vertical video is everything and it's everywhere. Vertical video kind of makes it so that posting static images as an artist is useless now. The metagame for posting as an artist and gaining some traction or having people see your work is not in static images anymore. Even if those static images are really good, even if your art style is really good, that discoverability is terrible. But all the discoverability, all the algorithm is in short form video. The barrier for artists to be seen by the world keeps going up every single year. Instagram, you could post semi-regularly and it could just be static images or in progress or sketches. And as long as you posted twice a week, you'd generally build an audience. And that was pretty good. If you responded to some trends, it was even better, but you would build an audience gradually there if your art was pretty good, right? But nowadays, Instagram's discovery is so bad that the only way for somebody to start from zero and build up a following, even if they have really good art, is to be a video producer. You have to make engaging video content of your art. And it's not just oh, here, let me show some footage of my canvas or me looking. You have to show snappy videos of you in progress painting your work or in progress doing your drawing. Or you do the canvas flip around thing and then you engagement pay people by saying modern art isn't real. Normie bait, flip the canvas around and you show them a realistic drawing of a hand or something. And then everyone's oh my God, why do people like the banana taped to the wall? What has the world come to? Not realizing that there's a billion other better artists that are producing all the time. With more interesting styles and more interesting things to say that aren't that good at video. But that's not really what it's about. It's about creating entertainment, which I think is maybe how it's always been. I don't want to sit here and just say that oh, you used to be rewarded for pure skill and you didn't have to network or you didn't have to market yourself, because artists have always had to market themselves. Artists have always had to network and be good at promoting their work and selling themselves in some way. But it just feels a bit different now. You just have to be a content machine, right? If you're an artist, you can't just be a person who's decent and produces art on the internet. You have to be actively networking in Discords or on Twitter or on multiple different social medias. You have to be posting both static images and then also videos. You have to be editing your own videos to be snappier and wittier and quicker and more engaging. And then the more engagement you get by posting short form videos, the more TikTokified your work becomes. You start responding to the people that are responding to your work. And then you reach this like art homogeny where everything is about producing work for the algorithm, which to me is really sad and really demoralizing. Pretty much everything that I've said so far is just a me problem. You know, it's a problem that I deal with, but the sentiment is like shared amongst artists that I talk to also. Everyone feels like they like should be posting more. Everyone has this guilt that they're not producing more content. But producing art every single day, drawing every single day is already so incredibly hard and time consuming and exhausting that then extending that creative energy out into posting to the world, at least semi consistently, right? It's just impossible, right? Even if you're an experienced artist. I've talked to artists who have been industry professionals for over a decade, and everyone that I've talked to for the most part shares that kind of sentiment that posting on social media is miserable. It's not just that you like do this like fun art and then you happen to record it and stuff. You also have to like make sure that your like audio sounds good. You have to make sure that the song choice that you choose fits. You have to cut it down into a concise way. You have to light your studio setup in a way that is really aesthetic, but also shows the work in a way that isn't necessarily beneficial to if you were just drawing it for yourself, right? The lighting that I put on a painting while I'm painting it is not necessarily the same beneficial light that is also fun to look at. It's more beneficial to light the canvas for the camera than it is for the painter. Ideally, social media for artists would be just like, it's this little earwig, it's this little fly on the wall in your studio that happens to see what you're doing and, you know, just happens to record some of the process and get a glimpse of what the artist is doing. And that's entertaining content, right? Like that's a fun thing to see. But what it actually is like setting up this insane studio where it's like the entire process needs to be a spectacle, right? The studio is no longer like a sacred place for an artist. The studio is everyone's place. It's everyone's entertainment. What was supposed to be my drafting table and my area and my sacred space to explore the art in the way that I needed to so that I could produce the best art for whatever means it is, has now become a stage for other people to see my work. And I would consider myself to be like a fairly confident artist compared to others. Like I'm a much more confident artist than a high school artist, right? Or somebody who's just starting out or somebody who's in art school, right? Compared to others, I'm a lot more set up to post art than other people, I think. So I imagine that this issue is just like tenfold if you're a younger person, right? If you're in high school and you're posting art content on the internet, it just must feel fucking terrible. Like I remember a time in my life when I was a younger artist and art was so much more hit or miss. Some drawings would be great, some drawings would be bad, and I wouldn't understand really like what the consistent factor was. And a lot of it had to do with like just kind of getting lucky on anatomy or not truly knowing how like the human form or how light works, and then kind of guessing around. And then on some pieces I would get lucky and just nail it, and other pieces it would be kind of realistic, it would kind of make sense, but it'd be a little bit off. And then other pieces I would just miss entirely. But that lack of consistency in the production, that lack of consistency in the ability to sketch and the ability to create art of a young person isn't as present when you're older. But the habits of posting are not ingrained to someone who didn't post when they were younger. Social media rewards the people who just posted throughout all of it, who were just confident throughout all of it, right? And no matter how their art was doing, they were just posting the whole time. But a lot of people like me who were not as confident in my artwork early on, and now I'm more confident, I don't have those social media skills ingrained in me. And a lot of my social media feels really sour, where it's almost like a sketchbook, right? Where the first couple pages were really good, and then I get to another page and it's terrible, and I just want to throw the whole sketchbook away. Social media is a lot like when you are gifted like a Moleskine sketchbook by like somebody who vaguely knows that you like art or something, or wants to gift you something nice. But then that sketchbook has so much scrutiny over it that you can't really sketch. It's not really a place for you to like explore your ideas and create and make bad art. It's a place for you to make worse art, but still good art, right? So basically, like a Moleskine sketchbook is a place where bad art cannot exist, right? The same way that social media is a place where bad art cannot exist, or at least it feels that way to me. Of course, you can sketch badly in a Moleskine sketchbook. Somebody who has never drawn anything before could sketch the entire Moleskine sketchbook and it'd be totally fine. The same way that anyone can technically post anything on Instagram or on social media, but it doesn't feel that way as people who want good feedback, as people who scrutinize and critique our own work. It doesn't feel like that's actually something that we can do. So similarly to the way that I overcame my problems with sketchbooks when I was younger, I really hope to overcome my fear and my like failure to launch when it comes to the internet. And I think doing a video like this is like my way to do that, right? Like I don't care who sees this. I don't care if this gains any traction or whatever, but I'm just trying to like find a place where I can actually just post for myself. This past month, I did a project that I just didn't need to do with this like optimistic hope that I would make a banger YouTube video out of it. And then out of nowhere, it would just like pop off and I could start making YouTube videos or something. Like I would basically like have an audience out of nowhere because of the like success of producing some video about this project that I think is cool. And I might still make that YouTube video, but it was just like effort allocated in a way that didn't make any sense. It doesn't cost me anything to make a YouTube video. It doesn't cost me anything but my own time and my own ability to do it. There's this feeling of perfectionism that persists throughout everything. As somebody who's watched a lot of YouTube and knows what a YouTube video kind of like ought to be, there's a lot of pressure on me making any video whatsoever, right? Because like this is not content anymore. Somebody just talking in front of a camera isn't really content. You need like superficial edits. You need like flashing images. You need B-roll. You need music. You need a narrative. You need like a thesis structure. It's not good enough to just be like a person with a camera. The same way that like a game review video isn't good enough that you just had a capture card in 2008. You need to be a whole production company. You can't just produce something that is just a vlog. What's so weird too about this is every single job wants to be a YouTuber. Every single person in every position in life is being pushed to content creation. It's worse for artists, of course, because artists are already doing that, and that was already the game. But the new game is that, like, if you're an artisan too, you're also part of this. If you work a day job, motherfuckers are like posting their daily routine of their day job, and then they're like day in the life of a Japanese office worker, and then they post that all the time, and then eventually they say, I'm going to become a content creator. But like the content was that for the whole time, so like it doesn't make any sense. It's like instead of living in a time where you would work a job and it would reward you enough to eventually like retire early, or maybe like you work for a business and then you work long enough that you can start your own business or your own practice or do something that you really want to do, or retire early or whatever it is. But instead of breaking the ceiling and then like starting some other greater pursuit or whatever, it's like everybody wants to break the ceiling and then like become a streamer, right? It's like no matter what job you're in, whether you're doing like car repair or you're working in an office or you're an artist or you're just like an Etsy artisan on the side, or you want to be a stand-up comedian, or you just want to play games and have people watch your games, everything is pushed into content creation. It all feels so weird because artists are competing with non-artists for attention in a way that I don't think happened in the past. It's like everyone's hoping to get crammed into that feed. Everyone's hoping to be crammed into like the same scrolling mechanism as everyone else. Everyone's being funneled into the same type of thing. There's there's like a homogeny of personality that has to happen, right? Where now that everyone's in the arena of vertical video, your art is competing with like ASMR lawn care. You know what I mean? Like things that are completely unrelated. And I don't think this is going to go away either. Vertical video is the meta. Vertical video is the thing. You can't compete with vertical video, right? It's so captivating and engaging, and it's got so many people hooked that static images don't do anything. Word of mouth does a lot still, but even then, you're dealing with an audience that is splintered. People are so drawn to their phones and drawn to the internet that you have to be the person on their phone to get their full attention, right? And even then, I don't know if full attention's even the word, but like word of mouth and like local community stuff does a lot of work. Like anecdotal stuff does a lot still, even more so because people really value that genuine connection. But you're also dealing with like a scatterbrained audience, right? The local communities of now are not the local communities of 20 years ago or 50 years ago or whatever, right? When you talk to people in person, everyone's dealing with such a frazzled mind because they've watched 400 videos on their phone in rapid succession like 2 hours ago, and now you're at this meet and greet, or now you're at this artist event and they're talking to you, and it's like, how can you have anyone's full attention when every single person in that room watched like a collective 100,000 videos in the past week? It's not the same audience that would give you the same amount of attention or compassion or, you know, an ear to your work or whatever. It's a different type of audience. It's so sad. I don't know. It makes me really upset. Because it feels insurmountable. It feels like I can't do anything right. I don't know. This is just like super rambly thoughts. My solution isn't like I want to opt out. It's more like I want to opt in with an asterisk. I want to post videos because I like video production. I like YouTube. I like the idea of making a project and then making a video out of it. That's not really the problem. I mean, I guess like the heart of what I'm even trying to say is like, I would like to post, but I would like to post under my own conditions, right? Under my own desires, as myself, without having to appeal to like a TikTokified voice or some uber edited like ASMR style content if I'm not producing that. I just wish I could carve out my area of the internet, carve out a little room for me where I can feel comfortable being myself and posting my things in a way that I like, that I find worthwhile. So yeah, those are my thoughts.